Greetings, Internet faithful. This is some guy named Rob from On Your Marks Wrestling, and this is Rob Recaps Raw for May the 21st, 2018. We open the show with a very worn out and tired formula of the general manager coming to the ring to make an announcement, only to be interrupted by someone, and it turns into the opening match of the night. The only thing that changes week to week is who interrupts the general manager and who basically ends up in that opening match. This time it ends up being Stephanie McMahon, followed by Roman Reigns, followed by Kevin Owens, followed by a match between Kevin Owens and Roman Reigns. This is so far beyond tired, it's not even funny. The match itself was completely flat. It looked like it was being, the whole show looked like it was being wrestled at half speed. Nothing looked crisp. None of the matches stood out as being particularly good. This match in particular was terrible. It was definitely proof positive that if you have a million monkeys working at a million typewriters, they will not produce the works of Shakespeare. What they will more closely resemble is the writing that was on display here on Monday Night Raw. The match ends in a DQ finish when Jinder Mahal comes out because that was super predictable. We then get Seth Rollins coming out to make the save, and then during the commercial break, surprise, surprise, we get the match turned into an impromptu tag team match because that's never been done before. That's so fresh and innovative. Just like the scripted promo that Stephanie McMahon screwed up when she was talking in the ring in the opening segment. Basically, the short story long of all of this is the promo into the singles match, into the tag team match, was to set up two matches. One, Seth Rollins versus Jinder Mahal next week on Raw, where you know there's going to be outside interference from Roman Reigns, and two, a match between Roman Reigns and Jinder Mahal at Money in the Bank, which a blind man could see coming from about 20 miles away. So I am guessing that when Stephanie McMahon says that Monday Night Raw has been on a roll of late, I'm going to assume they mean that it's off of a cliff and into a dumpster fire that's right next to an orphanage. It's just absolutely terrible. I will say that I do feel incredibly sorry for Seth Rollins. He has gone from being the best match on the card week in and week out since WrestleMania to trying to prop up Roman Reigns to make him even somewhat likable or tolerable. And that's a stretch. That's a hard slog. And I really feel bad for the guy because that can't be easy. Anyway, things go from bad to still bad. We have the Sami Zayn interview segment with Bobby Lashley's three sisters, who are clearly men who are in drag. The segment goes on way too long. The crowd is visibly getting up to go to the bathroom or go get drinks or maybe even leave the arena, who knows. During the segment, you can see it on camera. They're visibly in the aisles walking up the stairs to get to the exits to do something other than sit through this crap. Bobby Lashley comes to the ring with a really goofy smile on his face, and if he's drunk, I really want his cocktail recipe to know what specific mix and blends of alcohol will numb the pain from something this incredibly stupid. What I really gotta know is, what did Sami Zayn do to deserve this? When you think back to, late last year and early this year with the Royal Rumble and Fastlane, Sami Zayn was in the main event picture on the SmackDown brand, and now it's like he's being punished for doing something like taking a shit on Vince's desk. We then get an Ember Moon versus Alexa Bliss match. The match itself is there. It happens. Mickie James gets thrown out of ringside. Ember Moon wins with an eclipse. The crowd was flat. I mean, I'm amazed. I'm amazed the crowd had any energy left for the entire duration of the show after the opening hour, which was absolutely one of the worst hours that WWE have put together in their history. We then get a match between Baron Corbin and No Way Jose, where Baron Corbin picks up a win. Again, the match, absolutely nothing special, nothing really to speak of. This is like a Sunday Night Heat match. For those of you who remember Sunday Night Heat, this is exactly what it was. I could not bring myself to care about this match. We then cut to a promo in the backstage area. We have Chad Gable talking to Kurt Angle, Shawn Michaels and Dolph Ziggler and Drew McIntyre make their way into the promo, and they make fun of Gable. And Gable challenges Ziggler to a match, and the match is set up for later in the night. And don't care, still don't care. We then cut to what is, in my opinion, the single most entertaining moment of the night. The best piece of entertainment of the night was the introduction of the B team. And as they're coming out from onto the ramp, they are hand coloring in their own t-shirts. Honestly, it was the only clever moment of the night. It was the only moment that made me smile, that kind of broke the trance that I was in, of just this absolute trance of awful that I was under. That actually was refreshing. It was nice to see. The match itself was short and sweet versus Breezango, which was fine because everything else has felt like a slog so far. So a nice, quick, get it in, get it done, and get the hell off of my TV match was kind of refreshing. And because the crowd was still showing some signs of life, Vince and company decided to punish them by adding more Stephanie McMahon to the mix, bringing her out to moderate the contract signing between Nia Jax and Ronda Rousey. I was very happy to see an especially sturdy metal table being used for this contract signing, because I figured that if both Nia Jax and Ronda Rousey really drove Stephanie through that table, I think it would be incredibly satisfying just to hear the sickening crunch of metal around her frail body. Sadly, that did not happen. Instead, what we got was basically a 5.5-minute spiel from Stephanie McMahon, trying to artificially create heat for a feud that should not be happening for reasons. I'm really sick of them going after the celebrity angle in the WWE. They really need to build better. They need to build a better product. You build a better product, you will get that mainstream attention that you so desperately crave. Instead, what they're content on doing is hot-shotting a brand new wrestler to the top of the ranks. They're probably going to give her the title, which is going to be a mistake, and it's going to kill the Raw women's division. They'll get a very short-term gain out of it, and then basically wrestling fans are going to tell them all to fuck off and cancel their subscriptions to the network, and they're not going to be any better off than they were before. And now with the crowd firmly dead and just sort of sitting in their seats, resigned that this is going to just happen and they're just going to let it wash over them, we now have Dolph Ziggler versus Chad Gable. The match itself was okay, but again, it's just everything up until this point has been so unbelievably bad that it's been really hard to focus in and get invested in this match. Predictably, Ziggler wins, and McIntyre comes in for an additional beatdown after the bell, and I'm thinking to myself, what's the over-under on the number of weeks before the announcing team basically starts to drop Shawn Michaels and Diesel references while those two are together? Up next is a fatal four-way match for the Money in the Bank women's ladder match. It is Dana Brooke versus Liv Morgan versus Sarah Logan versus Natalya, and it must be a special occasion because they're allowing Dana Brooke to wrestle on TV. They're actually allowing her to be on TV. They don't show her ring intro. That would be taking it a little bit too far. And as a matter of fact, I think they only showed the little lower third announcing who she was to the home audience, because you kind of need to do that when people forget that Dana Brooke is actually part of the women's division. I think they put it up on the screen actually after the match had officially started. This should give you an idea of how low on the card this woman is. And then why'd you put her on TV? Just make it a triple threat with her and Natalya, the two members of the Riot Squad and Natalya. Anyway, match happens. Natalya wins. She cuts an incredibly lame promo, which all but screams out. The only thing missing was a giant neon sign over her head with, "I'm going to feud with Ronda Rousey." That was the only thing that was missing, because subtlety is not something the writing staff knows how to do. But then again, when you are a million monkeys on a million typewriters, that sort of thing is to be expected. Next up, we get Elias versus Bobby Roode, which apparently is the Bayley versus Sasha Banks feud we never got. They announce this as a rubber match where Each of them have traded. They have one victory over the other. Actually, I think Elias has two victories over Bobby Roode, whereas Bobby Roode has the lone victory. But whatever, I don't think it matters at this point. Really, the less we talk about it, the better. The match itself is okay-ish, but nothing special. It really is a very flat match, as are all the other matches on the card tonight. Nothing special to see here. Moving right along. Which moves us basically, literally transitions into our main event of the night, which is Finn Balor versus Braun Strowman, which was a match that was put together by Stephanie McMahon. Now, I'm not going to bother talking about the match, because honestly, the match was terrible. It was poorly conceived, and I feel the whole point of this show was it was almost like a calculated 3-hour attempt to kill any heat on any wrestler who might, even in the slightest, be more palatable to fans than Roman Reigns, to try and make him seem more tolerable when putting Roman Reigns next to the rest of the roster. They are killing everybody else and dragging down the entire men's division to try and make Roman Reigns look better in comparison. Why are they doing this? They are killing their own product for the sake of one angle that has been dead in the water for 4 years. No one cares, and we need this to stop. This has to stop. It has to stop now. Please, God, make it stop. Anyway, that is my take on Monday Night Raw. Leave something in the comments if you think that there's any redeeming qualities to this show whatsoever for this week, because I was only able to find the B team coloring in their own shirts. And when that is the highlight of a 3-hour wrestling program, things are in big trouble. The only thing I can hope for is that SmackDown is better. I'm not going to say it couldn't possibly be worse, because we all know that's when the hold my beer moment happens, and we end up with an edition of SmackDown that's just that much worse. But anyway, Raw has just been dying a very slow death for the past few weeks. No one has told the corpse that it's dead yet, and I'm just really hoping that it gets better soon, because honestly, otherwise I'm going to have to find something else to do with my Monday nights, something that's more productive and more entertaining, like maybe shooting my scrotum with a nail gun. But anyway, until next time, take it easy.